right, good evening. We're going to get started. I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Newington Board of Education. Today is Wednesday, April 5th, 2017. The time is now 7:01. If we could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we're going to go right to agenda item B, the presentation of awards and proclamations. And up first is Steve Farisi and recognition of our mentor teachers.
Excellent. Hello, testing.
Green light's on. Oh, you got it. Yeah, just talk on.
Excellent. Thank you so much for this opportunity to recognize our mentor teachers. I am going to ask Kimberly Garger and her mentee, Aaron Gilbert, to please come on up. And representing our mentor teachers and one of our newer teachers, or beginning teachers that Mrs. Garger works with every day, is Kim Garger. And the one thing I would just share with everyone is that our mentor teachers are really our veteran staff who are so committed to ensuring that staff new to the Newington Public Schools, whether you are brand new into education or whether you're coming from another district into Newington, that you are partnered up with a very experienced teacher, a teacher who ensures that every year they go through the Connecticut State training to be a mentor and make certain that they are comfortable and supportive helping our new and beginning educators really become acclimated to this profession and to the Newington Public Schools. Mrs. Garger is a fine example of that. She's one of our instructional coaches and supports our beginning teachers all the time, as well as all teachers. And as such, Mrs. Garger not only undergoes all of that training to do so, but she works with Aaron weekly, and they collaborate weekly to make sure lesson plans and unit plans are designed well for all students, and that they kind of continuously look at and critique and talk about how things are going. And Mrs. Garger is always there to support and provide Erin with everything she needs. So for all the time and all the effort that you put in, and all the mentors alike, we just want to thank you so much, for everything you do and the way in which you make sure that our new teachers can be successful here in Newington. So thank you, Mrs. Garger. And with that, I would like to give you this certificate for everything that you do, and thank you very much, Erin. Great job. Keep it up. And Mrs. Garger, would you like to say anything?
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Garger.
Thank you, Stephen. Any board comment before we move on? Go ahead, Emily.
I'll say thank you also to the mentors, because I know that's a really important program. Being a new teacher, there's a lot of things to learn and become acclimated to. So having that resource right there in the school for those teachers is really important. So I'm glad that we have more veteran teachers who are willing to step up to that and take on that role and help out our new staff so that our kids get the best from them. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other board comment? Emily, you spoke very well for all of us. Thank you. We all concur, exactly. Thank you. Okay. See you. Thank you. Okay, we are now at item C on our agenda, public participation on any matter related to board responsibilities. If anybody from the public would like to come forward, or if anybody would like to give us a call, our phone number is 860-665-8736. If you could just state your name and address for the record.
Okay. Max Turgeon, 86 Patriot Lane. I'm a senior for a little longer at Newington High School. 2 months left. I just want to thank you guys for all the hard work you do. Some of you have been on since I've been in elementary school, and people forget sometimes that you guys are volunteers, and Newington Public Schools is one of the best school districts in the state. And I just want to, on behalf of the senior class, thank you guys for all you've done for us. I just had one thing I wanted to say. Don't forget about the history and English students, the humanities. Sometimes I think we kind of feel forgotten. It's more about where we're going as a society with an emphasis on technology. And I just want to make sure they're not forgotten. You hear stories about school districts that go 1-to-1 don't buy books anymore. I just hope that doesn't happen. So I want to see, a very well-rounded Newington High School that I had. But again, thank you so much for all your hard work over the years. We really appreciate it. And I'm going to be a better person for it. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Max. You make us, students like you make us very proud
Thank you.
to be here. Thank you. Okay. Any other members of the public wishing to come forward? Okay, we will move to item D on our agenda, standing committee information items. We already did have report number 4 from the curriculum committee. Correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, right? We've already done that past meeting, so we don't need to do that. So we're going to jump right to Jeremy and Lucas and get a report from our student representatives. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
How is everyone tonight? Very good to hear. All right. It looks like spring is finally underway, and I think I speak for all of us when I say I couldn't be happier. It's nice to finally have a little bit of warm weather, right?
Yes.
The spring sports season has just begun, and boys volleyball is off to a fantastic start with a win against Farmington earlier this week. Although girls lacrosse may have lost their home opener to South Windsor, both Maya Gajowiak and Neve Mannion were able to score goals. We are still waiting for other sports events to occur, but I am positive they will have just as much success as the fall and winter sports seasons. Also at the high school, I was able to attend the AP European History field trip to the Irish Hunger Museum at Quinnipiac University. It is one thing to learn about the factors and impacts about a particular event in a classroom, but is an entirely different experience to see something with your own eyes. There are various paintings and sculptures that told the tale of pre-famine, during the famine, and after the famine. My particularly favorite piece was a stained glass that showed the Irish land before and during the famine. It was beautiful, yet saddening at the same time. In regard to other schools in town, I was also fortunate enough to participate in the pit by playing bass guitar in Once Upon a Mattress at Martin Kellogg Middle School. Although the actors and actresses are only in middle school, they did a phenomenal job. It left such an impact that I'm still humming many of the songs in my head. At John Patterson Elementary School, Mrs. Flint's and Mrs. Klima's kindergarten classes were also able to take trips to the Connecticut Humane Society earlier this week. Of course, who doesn't love animals? And now, Lucas will take on the second part of the report. Take it away.
So Student Council is working as hard as ever. Unfortunately, we had to cancel our annual Spring Fest event due to the inclement weather. During our setup and the time of arrival for people, it just didn't seem like it was going to work out. We were trying to determine the best course of action from here on. We're not sure of that yet, but we're definitely going to keep the public posted on anything that we decide. Other than that, we're trying to come up with new and innovative ideas that invigorate our student body, and we are excited to get in shape with the Relay for Life happening at Mill Pond this June. For the first time ever, we will have a team that is open to the entire high school. We hoping that this garners even more support than ever so we can truly lead the charge in eradicating cancer in all forms. In other news, Newington High School DECA killed competition at the AquaTurf in March. We had 9 people placed top 3 of their category and 4 others land spots at national through writing DECA essays for the Thrive campaign. My group, Allison Madrazo, Austin Sargent, and I placed first for our community service event, beating out Naugatuck and Darien High School, which is quite a feat considering they have outstanding track records and bring home literally every prize. One of the most memorable moments of the night was when Matt Cassone managed to place third in his category, even when using the bathroom. Now we, along with other outstanding advisors, head to Los Angeles and Anaheim on the 25th to the 30th. We are all so excited for the trip and the opportunity to represent our chapter in Anaheim, and even more excited to come back the next day to AP Chem exam. Yes. Newington High School juniors embarked on their SAT today, myself included. The angst was felt throughout the high school. However, many teachers went above and beyond, incorporating SAT activities into their teaching. This helped many students realize what we needed to study, and hopefully will help our scores. All in all, we are just glad that they are over. However, most of us will be taking it again for that pesky essay portion. The spring is finally here, and Newington, before we know it, the year will be winding down. That third quarter slump is almost over, and we will continue to achieve as much as we can here in Newington. Thank you, board members, for your time tonight, and are there any questions?
Any questions? Any comments? Dr. Braverman?
Sorry. So tell me more about the DECA event and how it all went.
It went really well. I mean, it's a long event, so you have one competition time. Unless you're by yourself, then you have two reporting times. And so me and Austin and Allison had our report time at 8:30 in the morning, so we were all day just, nervous,
Right.
waiting for results. And we were one of the last categories called too, so we were waiting all day. So we're going through you go through each of the events. You go into this big room. All the children are there, excited, waiting to find out to see if they won or not. And your category gets called. They call the top 6 for individual events, and then they narrow it down once you're up there to the top 3. So then the top 3 get to go and place in Anaheim. So Matt Cassone actually got called up for the 6, but he was in the bathroom. And then he ended up placing 3rd, and he was still in the bathroom. So they were waiting for him to come get his award, which was hilarious. It was so funny. But then, they, for our bigger events like community service and innovation plan, they call up just the top 3. So 3rd, when we heard that the first 2 were Naugatuck and Darien, we were like, "There's no way." But then they called 1st, and we were there. And Mrs. Miller said to us, when they were calling up 3rd or 2nd, still, she's like, I still appreciate all the work you do. You guys are so good. I was like, "Oh, thank you for the bit of confidence, Mrs. Miller. We really appreciate that." But,
And what was your project?
It was a community service event. So within our DECA chapter, we organized a decent event. I mean, it was our first one, so we weren't sure what we were doing or how we were doing it, but we thought we would raise money for this small orphanage in Haiti.
Yeah.
Called Go Haiti, and we set some goals and missed a few of them, got a few of them, but all in all, we thought we achieved as much as we could, and we're very proud of that. So we're glad it got us to Anaheim, and we're glad to be going. So.
Wow, that's exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Any other board member questions or comments? Thank you. Again, my favorite time of the night. Thank you. Okay, I really need my glasses. Okay, we are on to agenda item E, other business information items, and I believe Mrs. Maraca is going to give us a presentation on some textbooks for approval.
Thank you, Mrs. Petronio. We actually have one textbook for approval, and that is a textbook that will be used in our medical science, part of our Medical Sciences Academy. One of the series of courses, thank you, Mr. Vasella, is allowing our students to have the opportunity to take the exam to be a medical assistant. And so this is the textbook that is going to be used for those courses. And it aligns very tightly with what the requirements are for that state assessments for certification. So Ms. Jen Fries, who's the program leader for Biomedical Academy, went through a series of textbooks, and this one was the one that aligned the tightest to our curriculum. And then as students become of age, I think it's 18, can then take, should they choose, that medical assistant certification assessment.
And this would be for what grade level?
It's really not grade level specific because it's for medical sciences 1, 2, and 3.
So at the high school?
At the high school,
Okay,
yes.
so not the 8th graders.
No.
Okay. Any questions for Mrs. Maraca?
Nancy. I know we've got the hard text. Was there an online version of it?
No, unfortunately, there isn't. It is unique for a high school to offer a medical assistant. We're one of very few high schools that will do that in the state. Most of the time, you will find that at a post-secondary level. So you could probably go to Goodwin. You would go to, I think it used to be Lincoln Tech. I don't know what it's called any longer. It would be those institutions that would provide training as you do for CNAs, medical assistant, LPNs. So they're really still in the textbook mode, and they have not put it as an online. You can take the course online, but there are certain requirements, like you have to have a high school diploma, you have to have a GE or a GED. So in order to really meet the standard in a high school, we're using a textbook approach, which is what they use.
Just curious from that standpoint. Thank you.
Mr. Sylvia.
Along that curiosity, are there any open educational resources, since this is at a post-secondary level, that might be able to leverage, such as other colleges that might have this material? I mean, do we look or see if is any available?
I have not personally looked for anything else, but when I did do some research about the medical assisting program, most of those post-secondaries require, in order to take their course, your high school diploma or your GED. So we're offering it as part of our high school curriculum, which makes the difference.
Okay, so we don't know if there's any open educational resources available?
I'm not aware of any. I know that what we looked at were either online courses, which required then a GED or a high school diploma, but not open source materials.
Mrs. Ancona.
This is a pretty amazing program, because if students weren't doing it here at Newington High, they'd be paying for that certification.
Correct.
I mean, this is pretty awesome.
The certification assessment does have a cost, so students would have to pay the fee for taking the assessment for certification.
Right, not unlike the AP
Correct.
exam
Correct.
fees. Yeah.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, it's an
Right.
absolutely
It's
wonderful
amazing.
program. I was just curious if there was other than just a hard text, but thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions in regards to the text? Okay. All right, seeing none, we will move to other business information, item number 2, which is further discussion on our 2017-2018 budget. I think we asked, we're going to have Lou, maybe you
I'll
could
start.
start the discussion for us. That would be great. Thank you.
Okay, to kind of put a synopsis on where we're at in the budget process, we're going to go over several different elements that are of interest to the community, as well as, being able to frame the magnitude of dollars we're looking at. First part, there's been a significant amount of buzz in the community about how Anna Reynolds fits into all of this. So we want to be able to walk through the elements of Anna Reynolds as part of our longer-term plan, just so everybody can recognize how it all fits together. Then I'll just do a quick recap of what last year's, items we had to drop from the budget in order to live within the 0.49% resource that we were provided by the town. And then, quick sense of where we're at today, the magnitude of where we might have to go, and how that all might play out. Okay. All right. So going back, with all of the commentary on Anna Reynolds, because of the interest of being a Blue Ribbon school and making sure we take care of the school and how the long-term renovation project fits. Everything is based on a formal building committee arrangement in town. Okay, we do not have the ability to embark on a project of that magnitude on our own choice. There's state funding available, which is typically around 50% through the state construction grants. But there are also a number of requirements that are associated with it, as far as ADA, handicap accessibility codes, certain programmatic elements that have to be included, as well as other site conditions. So they look at a school building project comprehensively, top to bottom, to make sure it fits the state mold, and that the project ultimately, if it's a renovation, is more cost effective than if you just knocked it down and started all over again. They're not about to allow a community to go out and put $50 million into a facility that will only take $30 million to rebuild brand new. So, we have all those checks and balances. Architects need to be involved. And there is a very formal, strict process and protocol that we have to meet from the state to be able to advance a set of plans to the point of being able to act on them. The preliminary step before all of that is the town council has to pass 3 specific motions after we create a set of education specifications. One of those motions is to authorize a building committee. The second one is to authorize the hiring of an architect, plan and develop preliminary specifications. And the third part is authorizing the superintendent to file a grant application. So without the town council's sanction of these 3 motions, nothing can advance. Okay. As part of that, when we look at Anna Reynolds specifically, we have a 60-year-old building that's on a significant side hill lot that has a number of challenges from an ADA perspective. Easy access, the convenience of playgrounds and other spaces to the actual school building itself. So when an architect will review and decide on what is the best approach to go about a renovation, they may decide and recommend that this part of the building needs to be knocked down, this part gets renovated, this gets all changed around, or we build a new addition right next to something. So without that roadmap that an architect can provide for us, we're forced into a situation of really just holding our own until the time that the project actually gets off the ground. And that translates into us basically just dealing with keeping the aesthetics up on the building and dealing with necessary maintenance. You know, I can't say with any certainty that if I was to go out and replace all the windows in the building, that within 2 or 3 years, we might be knocking all of that down. So, it's prudent use of money to wait, because the money we have isn't going to be able to do the whole project. I mean, we're, around a $15 million preliminary estimate for the building, and our resources are nowhere near enough to be able to do a comprehensive revitalization of the building. We can certainly do different aspects, but we can't do anything comprehensively. And without having that roadmap, do we really want to be in a spot of possibly, spending money in an area where we won't get our payback, or the community will not get its payback? Okay.
Lou, Mr. Sylvia has a question.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Sorry to interrupt. No, thank you very much. Have we had any success or progress on the feasibility study concept that we discussed a meeting or two ago?
Feasibility study for what?
For the district. I remember that I saw
Yeah, we talked at one of our board meetings about getting a feasibility study, so we'd be ready in the
we would
event.
be ready
of
for the
committee.
building committee and everything, and we'd have a pretty good idea of what we would.
For not just for Anna Reynolds.
Correct, for the,
Yeah.
yes,
No,
for the whole
yeah.
district.
No,
I'm
no
sure
progress
Anna
on
Reynolds
that
would
yet.
be in it, but no.
Right.
No progress?
Not
or-
at this point, no.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so again, everything pinwheels around the progress of the building committee for the community, for us to be able to advance any sort of proposal for the community to consider with the architect specifics involved. And that's typical. There's nothing out of the ordinary about that. So certainly we want to assure the community we will not ignore Anna Reynolds. We will do those things necessary to keep the building and, find functional condition for what's there. But we're in a spot where we're not able to move forward at this point because without the building committee authorization.
Mr. Schulman.
No.
But I also just want, also what you're saying is that nothing's changed in our plans for Anna Reynolds at all. As soon as the town council's ready for us to go forward with the building committee, that's our number one priority. We'd like to go forward.
Correct.
Nothing's changed in terms of priority or willingness to get that done.
Correct, right. Back when we brought the request forward to the town council, the stated consensus of the council at that time was the town hall project is the town's first priority. Anna Reynolds is essentially second in line behind that. So, without knowing where the town council or the town hall project is right now, if we're going to be going to referendum in a few months or 6 months out, whenever it is, we basically are standing in line for being the next major project considered.
Just to be clear, Anna Reynolds has been my first priority for a number of years now, and will continue to be.
Mrs. Guyan.
So then it's after town hall, that's the first thing on the,
That's what was stated publicly back last November or December when we brought that motion forward, and it failed
Yeah,
at that
but again,
time.
just I want to just reiterate what Lou said. It's a three-step process, and we're not even at step one yet. We don't have the appointed building committee. We don't have the architect, and we have not been asked to file a grant application because we haven't. Right, so we haven't completed any of those steps because the first step is to get town council's approval. approval to move forward with those
Right,
things.
so we can't do anything until town council gives
Correct.
us the okay, and then we can move forward, but we're ready to do that when they give us the okay.
Correct.
All right, just want to make sure that's clear.
Yes, exactly where we are. Yep. So again, nothing has changed. There's been, there's been some speculation, and we just wanted to clarify that nothing has changed. That is the priority. Okay.
Okay. any
Okay,
other
thanks. Go ahead, Lou.
questions on that? Okay, well, then I'll move over to just the refresher from last year's budget. If everybody can recall, we had a 0.49% increase added to our base with the requirement of setting aside $515,000 into the non-lapsing fund. Okay. As part of the actions the board took to reconcile the budget at that point was the abandonment of the gifted program. That was here. It resulted in increases in class sizes across the the elementary schools. There were ultimately 5.5 positions lost. Most of those were able to be addressed through the natural process of people resigning or retiring and not having to rehire that position. So we did not need to RIF any of the regular teaching staff from that standpoint. We canceled the new math course that was under consideration, and we were not able to provide the lifeguard for the swimming pool, so it stays closed during school hours for the use of the student body, as swimming is part of the wellness program. It's still used by the swim clubs, park and rec, and the athletic programs. Okay, so just to bring everybody back to where we were. Okay, where we are this year at this point is a month or so back, the board passed on 3.12% increase to the town council, which was in dollars was $72,374,787. Okay. At this time, we've reached out to the town council, told them on a consensus basis we can make 2.49% work if it's authorized at that level. So that request was $71,936,000. So from our starting point of 3.12% down to we know we can make it work at 2.49, that was a reduction of $438,787, or 5/8 of 1%, 0.63.
It was basically the STEM teacher and the maintenance money.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Where we stand right now on the current town council budget proposal is an tentative authorization of 0.3%, which would be overall authorization if it was ultimately passed by the council on the 18th of $70,389,647. Okay, this would require a cut from our where we can make it work number of 2.49%, or $1,546,353. That's 2.19% of the overall budget. Okay, so when you put both of those numbers together, it's almost $2 million in cuts that we have to implement from where the budget stands today. Okay, it's $1,985,000 within a couple dollars. Okay.
I'm sorry. What does the 0.3 represent money wise, dollar wise?
$220,000.
Right. Okay. 220. So right now our increase stands at 220. Okay.
Right about that.
Okay.
Okay. Now, everybody needs to recognize that within our 2.49% request, that was to fully fund the budget. That would catch up any shortfall that was left to us based on the actions of last year of looking to us to rely on the $515,000 non-lapsing fund to cover current year operating expenses. It would basically bring the board back up to a solvent condition and moving forward without any deficits to concern themselves with moving into next year. So that's the landscape of where we're at the moment. Okay. Any questions for anybody on that? Yes.
I'm not even quite sure how to ask this, but at the 0.3 level for this year, how does that bring us to whole for this current year's level, or
No,
how
it's still-
far in the hole are we with
515,000 minus 220,000, so we're roughly 300,000 short of even funding last year's deficit.
With the 0.3.
Correct.
Okay.
I'd have to take a moment to calculate that to give you the
Just looking
precise
for
number.
a ballpark. Thank you.
Other questions for Lou, Mrs. Siegel?
The 5.5 positions lost, are those just teachers? Because we had the 2 administrators? Okay, so it's 7.5.
Yes.
Okay.
Right, so we had the 2 administrators and then,
Right, it was 5.5 was the ultimate number for the teaching staff.
okay,
And those ended up all being positions that people ultimately resigned from.
that we
that
didn't replace.
Did not have to.
So the positions that we no longer have, well, okay, we have 2, we're down 2 administrators,
There was a business ed teacher.
business ed teacher,
A
webmaster.
second career text teacher.
Yep.
There was one at the middle school for a general classroom teacher.
Okay,
There was a science teacher. That was a retirement that left. And there was one other retirement that escapes me off the top of my
okay.
head.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right.
And in the 2.49 fully funding, to make it work, it still involves some increase in class sizes, so.
Yes, we have to
Right,
address
right.
the gap of our current 3.12 to get it down to 2.49, $438,000.
Right, and remember, when we went from 2.49 to 3.12, we were addressing, we put maintenance back in and we put the STEM teacher back in. So now, again, by asking for 2.49, we're down already. That far. Another teacher, again. So it would be some more shuffling or not replacing a retirement or doing something and increasing class size to make it happen. It would be the only way to make that happen.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So the question is, where do we go from here as far as the next steps on our part? Right now, the next formal town council meeting to discuss and take action or modify the budget is on their budget adoption date of April 18th. Okay. There are no other budget hearings scheduled in the 13 days until the town is ultimately going to go final. It's not to say that they won't schedule another one, but as of right now, we don't have anything on the calendar for that. The our ability to reconcile the last $1.5 million that we have to cover, taking us from 2.49% down to 0.3%. If that becomes the ultimate reality of this budget, there would be operational impact associated with that. Okay. We're not ready today to present a plan or anything that, could be, have significant concerns about it at this point. We still need some time to go through what are the right things to do because of the significance of the cut. If that were to come to pass, we would have to, review and do a comprehensive review of every aspect of the operation to see where we can make things work. Just want everybody to be aware that if that does come to pass, that we will have to present the board with some options that, will have operational impact and possibly staff impact. So I don't want to misrepresent that at this time, that we can make that work without other, changes that are here.
Yes, and I just, to kind of piggyback off what you just said, we did have I want to say we had a joint meeting with the town council last Thursday. Is that right? Was it last Thursday? I'm losing track of days. We had a meeting last Thursday, and I think we had a follow-up meeting on Monday. Those meetings went very well. Those joint meetings that we had, we have presented a proposal, and we have a couple scenarios that we are discussing, and the town council and the board are working diligently, trying to work together to come up with a win-win solution with minimal impact, obviously, to the mill rate. So we are in those discussions currently, and we are hopeful. But as Lou pointed out, where we are right now, where we stand today is right now, the proposal is a 0.3% increase, and that's what you're saying. We don't have a list to share tonight on what would have to be cut. We know what was cut last year. We know what our starting point is, and we're hopeful that we're not going to, that maybe we can avoid that 0.3. So that is still to be seen and still to be worked out, and I'm hopeful.
Yes.
Mr. Sylvia.
I recall last year that because of the decisions made, that we needed to send notifications out to for union compliance, let them know of potential. Is there a date we have to hit on that one, or has that been adjusted by the state?
I don't know the answer to that. Mr. Farisi, would you like to speak to that?
Right, so the state law is by May 1st, so we would have to send out notifications by that time.
Thank you.
Other questions for Lou or any other board comment regarding the budget? Dr. Braverman.
So is there a subcommittee made up of board and council members that are meeting without us? I mean, not the whole-
So we started as the subcommittee, and then it turned into a full-on invitation for everybody. It was just too hard. To be perfectly honest, it's too hard when only certain people are talking and having conversations, and only some people have information and others don't. So it was better to have the entire board and the entire council in those discussions. So the last meeting of the entire body, right, was Monday, and I believe the town council is planning to meet on their own to discuss this in the upcoming days.
I thought the 2 meetings with the council were good from a board perspective. Give and take, let them hear from us. I think it's important. So,
thank you.
Good job.
Other questions, concerns, comments? Okay. I'm going to move to item F, public participation on any matter related to board responsibilities. As a reminder, our phone line is open, 860-665-8736. Seeing nobody from the public and nobody calling in right now, I will move to item G, which is remarks by board members. Anybody would like to start? Go ahead, Paul, thanks.
Dr. Collins had sent out an email to us with an article he had written, and it was in our packet tonight. I think it's an excellent article. I would like to see the community somehow to be able to see this article, whether we get it in papers, something, but I think it is really describes our district. It gives a good rundown of where we are, what our goals are. Very impressed with the article, Dr. Collins.
Is there a way we can upload it to our website?
Is it on the website or?
I believe it will be. We're going to ask Ms. Norton to take care of that. And just to add to what Mr. Vasella is telling you, that Dr. Collins is being a bit humble, but of the 50 states, only one superintendent in each state was asked to write, and Dr. Collins was the superintendent selected for Connecticut, so congratulations.
Congratulations. Yeah, so I hope this will be shared, and we'll get it up on our website. Thank you. Dr. Braverman.
Now that we're in the throes of the budget extravaganza, I guess I'll call it, I'd like to remind us that maybe for next year we can plan the genteel process, stop laughing, that I would like to put in place, that we aren't fighting with swords and, against each other, but we plan in the beginning, even in the summer, we could start working together with the council so that it doesn't have to be so adversarial. Was this our 10th time, Nancy?
It's our 10th time. We did. We had a joint meeting in our concerns.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that was good. That was good. But
good.
even more, with a little more teeth in it, would be good.
Point well taken. Thank you. Bob? Okay. Okay. Emily?
Yeah, I want to say congratulations to Dr. Collins. Also, it's a really well-written article, and I think that it speaks volumes to our district. So I hope that people will go out there and take a look at that. Take a look at that. So I also wanted to just comment on some positive things that have been happening here. Like Nancy said, we did have a couple of meetings with the town council, and I thought they were really productive meetings. It was, I feel like it was almost unprecedented that the whole town council and the whole Board of Ed met as full bodies and shared information, and I walked away feeling really hopeful. I thought that it was a very positive experience. So it's a little disheartening when I see a lot of information out there that has been allegedly leaked. I hope that it doesn't undermine the good work that and goodwill that it went into those meetings, because I feel like it could be really positive for our town in the end to have both bodies working together. So I hope that doesn't have a negative effect on the work that we have done, because I feel like we're headed in a really good direction. On top of that, I also had the pleasure of going to see Once Upon a Mattress at Martin Kellogg this weekend, and it was fantastic. I think the spotlighting was amazing. My son was running one of the spotlights, so I paid special attention to that. But the kids were really terrific, and the teachers that, you see the teachers backstage, you see them in the cafeteria, you see them running in the hallways, and all of the work that goes in from parents building sets and running the concession stands and picking our kids up late at night for weeks on end. On top of all of the work that the kids do, they really put their heart and souls into their performances and into the program, and it shows, because it is really, really, really good. And I laughed, and I just really enjoyed it. So congratulations to them and to Mrs. Daigle on the wonderful performance. So thank you for inviting me. I really, really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Emily. Mr. Sylvia?
Thank you. Well, Emily, you've stole the thunder, and Dr. Braverman, I fully second your motion. I wondered what was going to happen from me coming back early to the meetings, but I was very pleasantly surprised with the joint meetings that was organized, the collaboration that was shown, and the discussion. As Emily has outlined, I don't need to repeat it, but I do hope that we can have many more of such meetings and collaboration, so that they have a greater understanding of the needs that we have. So thank you very much.
Cindy?
I too want to congratulate Dr. Collins on his article. That is something for us as a district to be proud of, and we should all be grateful that you are our educational leader, because we really appreciate that. I too am glad about the collaboration. I'm feeling better, in a better place. Last year, first time around, the budget was disheartening. The games we played, and I'm feeling much better about the process this year, and the fact that we have a dialogue going, and I really do appreciate that with the town council working with us. Thank you.
Mr. Schulman? All set. Mrs. Ancona?
I'll say ditto on all the prior comments. And I would like to say I'm really excited. I don't know if anyone else is going to attend the Academy Breakfast at the high school
yes.
on Friday.
I'm going.
So I'm going as a Board of Ed member, and as a mom, my daughter's speaking for the Business Academy. So I'm really excited to attend. I'm looking forward to it, and see you all there.
Oh, it is.
Oh, nice.
Yes. What time is that at? 7:45.
Oh, okay. I was going to be there early. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. No. The new wing is off the parking lot, right?
Yeah, so, right. So, no, well, we haven't usually directed people to the wood shop before. So 400, right, so what used to be the 400 wing, where the shops used to be? So if you're going in where the student parking lot is, I would recommend you park in the student parking lot and walk right across the sidewalk, and you'll see there's a glass entryway, and walk right in there.
Okay, and with that, a motion to adjourn? Second by Emily, and we are adjourned at 7:45. Thank you.